Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider #1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by one of my favorite writers, Stephanie Phillips, with art by Federica Mancini, Matt Miller on colors, letters by Anna Mayer. We also have other colors by Mark by Nolan Woodward for the cover and Mark Brooks on cover, as well as some other covers that we'll see at the end of the video. So what is happening? It looks like Spider-Gwen, Stacy from, I believe, Universe 661, Earth 61. She's now stuck in 616. I don't know how we got here. I hadn't been reading the previous series. I do love that the cover has her with a like a suitcase, which is really funny. So that I think that's just a great way to tell you, like, oh, here we go, like, we're running for a trip, right? Let me give you a quick synopsis for this. Trapped in the 616 for good, welcome to New York. Gwen truly becomes a ghost spider when she moves full time into the universe where Gwen Stacy died years ago. But why did she leave Earth 65? Why aren't the other spiders supposed to know she's here? And why isn't she supposed to suit up? And who's going to get hurt when she does? That seems like a lot of restrictions. And I'll be very interested into what was the pitch for this book for Phillips. Like, because that seems to me like it's Gwen Stacy, but she's supposed to be dead in this world. You also shouldn't be a superhero. You can't do superheroics, and we'll get into that here. And then also, like, you're not supposed to interact with any of the other spider people that are in New York. Also, why did you move to New York if that's the case? So I don't know. Very interesting premise, and I think Phillips does a really good job. First of all, we get a nice one-page recap of what happened to the Gwen Stacy from this universe. In case you're new, there's a lot of new readers, and as much of a Gwen Stacy's death is probably a pretty important and impactful moment in Marvel lore, and it's probably very well known. But I think it's still good to put it into context as to how this affects Gwen, and I really appreciate that. The team took one page very efficiently to do that. We'll look at that when we get into the art previews. But also, Gwen now has to deal with all the difficulties of being thrown into this world where she doesn't know anyone, or she knows people but she can't contact them. She doesn't have an identity because the Gwen Stacy from this world is passed away, and she still has that sense of responsibility to act when bad things are happening. That's really the key here, and finding that balance. There's also some implications with the TVA, and we get to see Obi, which is the character of Ouroboros that was in. I don't know if Ouroboros, I believe it's a previous character, but they reintroduced him in the Loki season 2. So it's really cool to see, like, once again, characters go back and forth from the comics to the live action stuff, back to the comics, as they kind of have a bit of a renaissance, right? So let's get into the art, because I do have a few things I want to talk about. As I mentioned, I think a great job here by the team, just bringing us into this world, reminding us of the stakes. I really love the lettering that Gwen has her own font and colors. Um, when she's coming in, right? She's from another Earth, so, like, Marvel usually has the letters have make it a little bit distinct, even if it's just during the narration. I think when overall pretty stylish, to go undercover with the what they call the Marvel undercover look. Just a hat, maybe a hoodie, something like, and of course, she's at a bank. Immediately, trouble finds her, and that's where things kind of escalate. I do love that the way her suit kind of comes on and off. I think that's pretty cool. Um, my only issue with some of the art was, I love how stylized it is at when there's movement and a lot of things happening. Like, the action is very dynamic and very stylized. But I felt like there were some moments where the characters feel a little over stylized when they're just being like when they're just kind of sitting there, like, being very static. So if I'm just sitting at a desk, I don't see what I would be doing with, like, my arm looking a little bit longer than it should, or like just all those things that you would use during like a fight or something like that. That may just be me, being introduced to a new artist style. I'm not familiar with Munsin's work. So but other than that, like everything, I really enjoyed this book. It was a very small thing that kind of tripped me up, and then maybe I'll kind of get used to it as we go forward with the series. But I wanted to point it out because it's something that jumped out of me throughout this. So always want to make sure that you guys get my full impression of a book, whether the good along with some of the things that trip me up. So but if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Let me know which cover you picked up. I was able to pick up the Jenny Frism cover, which is lovely. But this book, as with Marvel does with some of these characters, they go all out and they just put out so many cool covers that it is impossible for one person to really pick them up, all of them. So, and always, as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.